You are listening now to the Spirituality Now podcast, the show that is solely focused on practical spirituality, leadership, and mindset skills with the aim and purpose of supporting you master your life. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor. And in today's show, a show called Becoming Unapologetically Abundant, we have my beautiful neighbor. If you don't know, guys, I live part-time, in Mexico and part-time in Las Vegas, Nevada. And my beautiful neighbor from Las Vegas, Sin City, not Sin City, Miss Petia Kolibova. Petia is an alignment women's coach who guides women to intuitively connect with their inner vision so that they can experience personal and professional magnetism and become unapologetically abundant. Her mission is to empower visionaries like you who are on the path to embody their fullest self-expression to soulfully expand into a quantum leap in all dimensions of their lives. Petia gives immense clarity plus exact steps to unlock women's divine feminine and abundance mindset. Through subconscious work as a certified breathwork facilitator, reiki, LP, and human design practitioner, she helps her seven-figure clients, 6 and 7-figure clients, to their next level in life and business. If she is not interviewing fellow experts on her podcast, Unapologetically Abundant, traveling the world with her husband, hosting retreats, or reading, you will find her reading or cuddling with her dog, her baby dog, and very soon, her baby girl. On this podcast, we talk about a couple of very powerful themes. So stay put, listen, and welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. So, my friends, welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. We are really new in this video format, so I'm very excited. And I just found out that my beautiful guest today, that you've probably heard her incredible intro, breath worker and holistic healer and women empowerment maven, right? And mogul, I'm going to call her mogul. And I just found out that she lives in Las Vegas, and I'm currently in Las Vegas. So we could have her in the studio and you could have seen us both interact. But this is the way it is. And spirituality truly is being as it is, right? Being as raw as possible. I call raw being responsible, aware, and whole. Everything of you, all of it, all of you, your storm, the dark, the shadow, the good, the bad, the little nuances makes us all a whole human being. So, my beloved neighbor, welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be connected, Yvonne, and I just love how the universe works. It's like perfect time and perfect connections, and sometimes we cannot even orchestrate it. It's like being orchestrated for us. So being the observer and seeing what is happening, it's so beautiful and so much fun. And I'm excited what all we can co-create, knowing how I feel like it's so beautiful that we can share our energy and wisdom with your listeners worldwide, and how beautiful that we can also have the proximity of, like-minded people, similar hearted souls, so close. Like, how beautiful, 15 minutes away.
My gosh, 15 minutes away. And I get to invite you for tea. If I could leave everything behind, I wouldn't. And one thing I will take, how people usually ask, if you will live in an island alone, who would you be with? Would you bring? It will be tea for me, the practice of tea. So I can't wait to have you here. So let's start, because this is the show about you, and I get super passionate and I just go into especially if I talk about tea. So let's talk about, your story. And this is a ritual we have in the podcast. Obviously, the story is important, but the story that we focus on in the Spirituality Now podcast more is when little Petia was growing up and was being prepared And our challenges, our dark moments, the dark nights of the soul prepare us, right? And maybe the light nights of the soul, the light days of the soul too. But what's the story of little Petia that is here with us through you today, that grew into this incredible woman that you are?
First of all, thank you so much for seeing me. I received
Mm.
that. And it's so beautiful when we can look back like really lovingly and embrace that version of us. And I love what you said right at the beginning of the recording, Yvonne, that we get to embrace the wholeness. We get to embrace everything of us. And I feel like when I was growing up, I was feeling unworthy and not enough. And I could just really see the parts of me that were not perfect, that were not lovable. And now when I can look back, I can really bring in this little girl and embrace her so fully in so much love and understanding. And I'm not sure if you know, because it's the first time we are meeting smile to smile,
Amazing. Uh-huh.
but I'm pregnant currently, and
Oh,
I
hi,
am
baby. Hi, baby. I
and
had to
I'm
say hi.
expecting, yeah, and I'm expecting
Mm.
little baby girl. Like we didn't reveal the
Oh,
gender yet, but
hi.
I'm
Oh,
revealing
okay.
it here for you.
Okay, this is a first for the Spirituality Now podcast, a gender reveal. Thank God we're like, this podcast will come out in a couple of weeks. So your family and your friends will know before this, hopefully. If not, we
Yeah,
have, this is
you have
awesome.
the exclusivity.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
And I feel like it's such a beautiful, like full
Mm,
circle. Like on my journey, I started to realize the patterns, how I was feeling and how my mother and grandmother was modeling it. And what a different environment I'm creating for this little soul to come in.
mm,
How different it can be for her,
mm.
and what a grounded and safe space she can come to, because my mother and my grandmother, they never felt supported or safe or
Yeah.
left for who they are. So it's very interesting when I look at this full circle, and not only I can embrace the little child that I was, and that grew into this woman that I am today, but I'll also embracing my daughter now. I'm 5 months pregnant. And when I'm going through my emotions, when I'm going through my feelings, I'm able to tell her, honey, this is not yours. This is how mommy processes. This is what is happening on the outside, nothing to do with you. So, right from the womb, I'm inviting her to be unique, to be herself, and not to just take everything on her like I did.
Right.
So I feel like it's such a beautiful opportunity.
Wow. This hits the core of part of the work that me and my team have done for more than 20 years. We've done family constellations, rebirthing, more than 10,821 people, or 31. I don't, and what you just said of talking to your child and saying, this is mine, this is not yours. It begins to put everything in the right drawer, right? Emotionally, psychologically, DNA wise, story wise. And then, obviously our children will get to choose as they grow up, wiser and older, what they keep. But that discernment piece that you are gifting your daughter since the beginning of her journey is such an incredible blessing. And just I want to ask you, where are you from? Because I love your accent. I have an accent, and just to understand a little bit of the background of the feminine lineage of your path.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And I was raised and born in Eastern Europe, in Czech Republic. So
Ah,
it's heart of the Europe, close to Germany, Austria. And when I was 20, I moved to London, then I moved to Spain, then I moved to United States, then I moved to Mexico, back to
oh,
States.
bravo.
And I'm grounded now. Like we're home, we are grounded, and I feel like that's what the little soul also needed for me to be grounded, because last year when we were traveling and still living in Mexico, and then we came here just for summer, we experienced miscarriage. We were expecting twins,
Ah,
and we experienced miscarriage. So I feel like,
sorry for that. Mm,
thank you,
mm,
like you said, like it can be the dark of the soul, but we can alchemize it and transmute it into the light of the soul. Because no matter what is happening in our lives, I truly feel that it's happening for us and it's in our power.
Yes.
I don't like to say the word control. I've been controlling my whole life. It doesn't work. But really in our power to see what are we choosing. And it doesn't mean we're not going to feel our feelings. And I know you're teaching all of this so eloquently too. But it's truly about like, like embodying and feeling whatever it's coming up and then alchemizing it and choosing again.
Mm.
And this is something that I had to learn through my first and through my second pregnancy, how to be and become and give myself permission to change, give myself permission to change my business, to change who am I being, change who I'm surrounded by. I feel like it's so important because where I'm coming from, I never felt home. Yvonne,
Ah,
I never felt home in Czech Republic. I have
yes.
no like my closest like soul family was my grandma. I know
Mm.
she was my soulmate, and she transitioned. It's going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 years that she transitioned, and my mom still lives there. And I have no desire to go back. There is no soul calling me going back. I know that I was meant to be born there. I was meant to experience the contrast and the lack and the scarcity to create something else, not only for myself, but also for my family and my clients. So I'm
Mm.
thankful for what I experienced there
Yes.
because I feel like it taught me a lot about, hard work and how to survive. But now I know I'm not in a survivor mode. And so
Yeah,
many
so
of us
let's
are.
talk about that a little bit because you help women, right? And this podcast we're gonna title it, and it's titled "Becoming Unapologetically Abundance." Becoming unapologetically abundant, right? Abundance, abundant. And that little girl that experienced the scarcity that your mother and your grandmother and I've been in Czechoslovakia. May I say it's one of my favorite countries. Look how it's obviously I went as a visitor. Obviously, I went as a tourist. Obviously, I went from, you know, a very open, liberal kind of, country mindset into this beautiful country. I mean, what a beautiful architecture and history, but where the people were feeling or trained to be oppressed, correct? By several generations. I'm not sure what is the current state of Czechoslovakia right now. I should have done some homework, but I just want to honor the fact that in that country, with its beauty and its challenges, someone like you was born, and that you witnessing the scarcity, the lack of opportunity. That's how I'm going to say it, right? And correct me, of women in your lineage. Now you get to choose differently and support your clients and this beautiful baby of yours. This is my first baby at a podcast in the womb, right? Welcome. This is your first show. But I love how that's turned around because, I am a believer that I love that you express gratitude for where that taught you, because the more grateful we are for what made us and where we come from, the more abundance we'll have and create more as we move into our next, right? So I love that you're a women's coach. It makes sense to me, right? Most of the times it's our challenges that give us the training that we need to unfold our gifts and guide others into that. And you guide them intuitively to connect to their inner vision, right? So they can experience their personal, professional magnetism. Let's talk about magnetism because you have a magnetic personality. So, how how did you found out your magnetic abilities to attract, manifest, etc., and how do you help others in that?
Such a beautiful question, Yvonne. And I feel like, again, it was through a contrast because I used to
Hmm.
play it very small. I used to be like this chameleon who would change depending on who I am with and where I am.
Oh,
And I used to lose myself in relationships. I used to lose the sense of who I really am. And so what happened is that when I started my, spiritual awakening and my personal development journey, I doubled with meditation. I became certified in meditation and qigong, and then
Oh,
other things like arise for me. And it was just like this curiosity, like, who am I and why am I here? And when I started to change from inside, people start telling me like, oh, I love being around you. You have such a beautiful energy. Like, I feel so good being around you. And I like, this is like almost a decade ago. I couldn't understand. Like, what do they mean? What do you mean that I have a good energy? Like, what do you mean that like you want to be around me? Because most of my life I felt inadequate. Most of my life I felt like I have nothing to say. I'm not special. Like, that used to be my story. I am
oh,
not
wow.
special. Who would listen to me? And so when people started to come out, it was like slowly getting out, and slowly like trying who I am and me. And I realized, and this is why also we have my company, it's called Abundance Activated. My podcast, it's Unapologetically Abundant,
Yes.
because I realized throughout my journey, the more of me I am, the less resistance I am getting from the world around me. And everything started to like come to me. Opportunities, more money, more travels, people who respected me and honored me, and beautiful friendships. And
Mm,
that's when I started to like realize like, wow, the more of me I am, the better my life is. And that's when I started to notice how, especially women, were doing the same thing. They
yes.
would do everything for their friends, everything for their family, and then they will put themselves on the back burner. They
Mm.
were tired, frustrated, unhealthy, numbing, and done it all, like alcohol, food, overworking out, shopping, maxing out your credit cards, done all of those things,
I mean,
right? Like
all of them. Check,
the
check, 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 check.
right? Because we don't feel fulfilled. We don't feel worthy and deserving. Because when you're fulfilled, you don't need to drink 2 glasses of wine to feel better. You don't need to go shopping and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to feel better. Then you come home and you're like, well, I'm not feeling better anyway, right? It's just the dopamine that we're like searching for. So I started to notice that other women were doing the things that I used to do too.
Okay.
And I found a better solution. Why don't you go to nature? Why don't you eat more live foods? Why don't you dump the coffee or alcohol? Why don't you receive? Like, so many women are struggling with receiving compliment. You won't
Oh,
like,
yeah. I
right?
feel you. I used to be one of those. I used to be one of the, Yvonne, you're this, you're that. I'm like, no, no, no. Pushing it away. No, no, no. It's you. It's you. So much, avoidance of that. Still, I have a challenge in that because I'm not really fond of exclamative praise. I prefer descriptive. But yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I still have challenges with that.
And so many women do. And that's when, like, like, I got a first client. I attended mastermind, and it was funny because my first like in-person client here was in Vegas, on a mastermind when I met my husband 5 years ago, and she was
Mm.
the one who was like organizing it. And she came to me and she was like, Petia, I just love your energy. Like, do you take any clients? I'm like, for what? Like, I was just like so oblivious,
I
like,
love that.
and I'm like, sure. I'm like, let's have a lunch and let's talk. So we went for a lunch, and like, I was listening to her, and she was like, mom of, like, two girls who already grown up. They were all like 18. And she was like, I lost myself. I don't know what to do with myself now.
Oh,
So I started to work with her 101. And she started to come to life and create her own routines and rituals and feeling better. And her relationship with her daughters and family deepened, with her
yes.
partner it deepened.
Yes.
So when I saw her coming to life and blossoming, I'm like, I have to do this. So I had a couple of clients for life coaching, but back then my first business was actually social media marketing management.
Ah,
That was the first business that I started because I got fired from my corporate and I'm like, what now? And I had two clients that I was helping with social media because I used to be I was social media and office
manager.
manager in a
Yes.
corporate. So I'm like, let's do what I know how to do. And I was so much in my masculine, so much in my
Ah,
masculine. Like I
well,
had to learn to transmute it into the feminine.
let's talk about that because, I want to highlight a couple of things that you're saying. So, first of all, kudos for studying Qigong. Qigong, I'm a practitioner of the Shaolin arts, and so
Wow.
I pay tribute to anyone that really is adamant to master these energies between inside of them, right? That is a little bit of what you are saying right now, masculine, feminine, to bring that harmony, not balance, but harmony of the polarities within us. So kudos for that, because I'm sure that energy goes to your clients. Second of all, I mean, for anyone that is on the burner of like, should I do it? Should I bring my story? Can I help people? Because those are the questions that you had, like, right? Like when you were feeling like a chameleon, who am I to help people? Who am I to do this? The more, and I love that you said this, that the more you were yourself, the more you allow to be yourself, suddenly the universe begins to open up, right? Because it takes guts and courage to be you. It's a bold move, and the universe favors only all of the time the bold. And you are the example, and I want to emphasize this, especially for all my Latino friends in Latin America, that when you really are ready and you are willing to listen and receive and be who you are, even the clients ask you, would you take me as a client? That's amazing. Petia, that's amazing. That's so beautiful. And then you realize, oh, you got the instruction from the universe. One of my teachers, Baron Katie, says, I pay attention to the simple instructions and the simple instructions that the universe gives her. So you build your business around it, even though you were doing other things, which is all connected, right? It's all connected. And now you're helping people with to bloom themselves into who they are and to open themselves to the incredible abundance, right, that the universe has for them. So tell us a little bit how a coaching session or how people will experience working with you.
I love that question so much. And I feel like for me, I'm very intuitive, so it's not exactly like first 10 minutes we do this, then we do this.
Mhm.
However, what I love incorporating, because my business, of course, that I'm in a business for past 7 years, so it shifted and changed. And how I work with women, the women who come to me now are visionaries and they're coaches and healers and leaders. So now where I am in my life, I'm attracting women who want to be helping others, who want to create the ripple effect and shift the world into, like you said, this beautiful harmony. So very often, like 9 out of 10 of my clients are women who already have a business and they want to expand and create even more impact. Maybe they want to step on stages or start their podcast or write their book or create summits or doing international retreats, which I have done all of these things.
Yes,
And they come to me and they say, Petia, you have done it. Like, show me.
yes,
Because when
yes,
I am on a session with a client, I always bring them back to themselves, back to them truth. It's not like do it like Petia, copy Petia, and you will be happy. That's my way, right?
yes,
And I have experience in the past with coaches. They're like, just do this and then you make money. I'm like, that doesn't feel good. Like money feels great because I love that I can circulate money and invest in the things and people that I believe in, but it's not just like copy me. It's not that. We all came here to be unique. So I listen to my clients. I'm very intuitive. I
mm,
work also with a human design that I absolutely love because it helps me to understand my clients on a deeper level. So looking at them, their past life and where they're now and what kind of life they want to create, we usually focus first on like the healing, right? Like
yes.
we all have so many layers. It doesn't matter how long you're in the game. There is
Yeah,
always
or
another layer.
enlightened, or even the Buddha. I always say, even the Buddha, even the Christ, we're in Holy Week recording, even the Christ, even the Buddha, they had to do the hard work.
Yes.
They went through hell to arrive to heaven on earth,
Yes.
everything. even them. So yeah.
hmm So we first really look at the healing, and I'm looking, and I love that you're doing the family constellations. It's so
Yes,
beautiful because I look at ancestral healing too, and I use
yes.
meditation and hypnosis and breath work and Kundalini activation process. So
Ah,
I have different beautiful tools and modalities that I take my
yes,
clients through, depending on where they are, how many layers we get to go through, and I empower my clients to create offerings that really align with their soul, because I
yes.
don't believe in hard work and hustle. I have done it my whole life, like for the first 3 decades. In the past 5 years, when I was able to create the harmony between the feminine and masculine,
Mm,
I have created abundance that comes to me with more ease because it's true to me, not to anyone else. So I
yes.
bring my clients back to themselves. We work on ancestral traumas, on past limiting beliefs. I am master neurolinguistical practitioner too, so I work
Oh,
with the
nice.
subconscious
Yes,
mind,
yes.
and I help them create the life and the offerings that is true to them and their lifestyle. It's different for a girl who is 25, who is single and doesn't
Absolutely.
have anyone, for a mother who is single mother of three and have another business.
I love that. Let's talk about that a little bit. You know,
Mhm.
I don't want to interrupt your flow because you enter in a flow so beautiful. And but one of the things you said, I'm going to rewind a little bit and wrap up with this one in this topic, that a lot of women, you know, I love that you have all these tools that help women because everybody needs something different, and that you have mastered each tool that targets, right, all the holistic parts of who we are, right, like the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the etc. But you said something that really highlight in my mind, that many people are so focused on being full, more money, more this, more young energy, right, more, let's get over tired our young energy in doing, getting hard, getting more, consuming, producing to consuming instead of producing to create, that we are usually living as women and as men too in a culture of consumerism that gets you full but doesn't get you fulfilled. And for me, if you can help people in the path of fulfillment rather than success, you know, because there's a lot of successful people that are so depressed and so like needy and greedy. They have the needy greedy of more, and they think that the hit of the dopamine hit, you know, that's what's happening in social media with AI, all of that stuff, that will make them happy, but nothing makes you happy except the working of yourself, right? And so all the tools that you are using to facilitate fulfillment, for the women to click into the alignment of the universe and do their natural offer and attract naturally the abundance that belongs to their inner and outer work, I think it's a beautiful work you are doing, Petia.
Thank you. Thank you
So
so
beautiful.
much. Thank you. I receive it. And
So beautiful.
it's, and I absolutely love how you describe the full versus the fulfilled, right? Because
Mhm.
we feel like when I check off all the boxes, then I will feel happy. You know, like when I have the job, when I have the husband, when I have the
Mhm.
kid, when I have the money, blah, 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 you name it. And it's so interesting. Like in the past, I check off all the like checklist and I wasn't fulfilled. I'm like,
Yeah,
what's wrong with me? I have all these things and I have all these accomplishments, and people were looking at me and they're like, wow, you know, and I'm like, but I'm feeling miserable. I'm feeling empty. And I struggled for almost
that's
2 decades with eating disorder because I felt so
oh
empty. And I tried to fulfill it with the food and it didn't work either, you know. So I love that you're talking about fulfillment. And what I do teach my clients, it's soulful success. It's not
yes,
success. It's not about how
yes,
much you achieve, how much you check off your to-do list, how much money you make. Even though, of course, I teach abundance. I teach women how to receive, and
yes.
from place of soul that it's aligned to your
Love that.
truth. Yes.
From a place of soul. I have a coach, a mentor. His name is Jesse Itzler, and that's his whole thing. He has a movement called Build Your Life Resume, and does everything through soul. Let's build your life resume instead of the external thing. And I love that you say soulful success, because once your soul is full, what's next is success, and that's the norm. right? That's going to be the norm. Like your worst days are going to be, oh, my worst day is my best day that I wish I had in the past, and now in this future, which is now, I have created magnetize it, which is that magnetism that you facilitate people. I don't know if you teach them or you just open the channels for them that were blocked by their own unknowingness of who they were, right?
Yes. I love that. I love what your mentor is teaching. I think it's so
It's
important.
called Build
And
Your Life Resume. Go check it out.
yes.
He's the I know that he says that everybody introduces him like this, but he's the husband of an incredible, magnetic, abundant, aligned woman. Her name is Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spanx. I don't know if you know Spanx. I
I
know
do.
Spanx because I use Spanx. So they're an incredible couple. Check it out because they're like really the embodiment of fulfillment and abundance and massive success in all the buckets of life. So, Petia, so what are you said you host retreats, right? And events. And I know that the pandemic came and that put a pause on that a little bit. So, any future projects that you have that you would like to share with us besides your little baby girl? Hi.
I feel like that's like the biggest project because when people like they
Yes,
didn't know
yes,
that I'm pregnant, they're like, so what are you creating in
yes.
2023? I'm like, I'm creating human. And if I don't do nothing
Wow.
else,
Yeah,
I
that's
am
it.
happy. It's such a
That's
it's
it.
it's so fascinating because not only I'm growing human, I'm growing with her. Like the
As a
fears that came
human,
up,
yes.
the doubts that came up, and all of that. I'm like, wow, even more layers. So this year, I'm not planning any live events. I did last year in Tulum.
Yes.
We did several retreats there. So now I'm focused more online because I know I can do online even when the baby girl comes. So
Very
now
good.
we're focusing on online, and I do in person, but I do only one-on-one. I'm not doing groups right now. I do 2 days VIP experiences with me here in beautiful Las Vegas.
Yes. Petia, you and I are bringing to Sin City, we're turning it into Sand City. I keep saying that. But now that you're in Las Vegas, we have a job from Sin City to Sand City.
I love
We're
that. I
going
love
sand.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Um,
I love what you just said. I wanted to tell people like all of those plans, all of this, what she just said. Well, my plan is I am creating life. Is the biggest thing, right? Is becoming a mother, is being present every moment for this occasion. And I loved because that is setting an example. And that's something that your first client told you, right? Like, hey, you have done this.
yes.
Show me. Instead of telling them, you live it and then you show, right? You have the example, the experience, and then you show. I'm 100% believer on
Mm,
that. And so I am my feminine energy, right? Me as a mother, I am so rejoiced that you as a mother are really, this is your life plan right now, which is in the moment, in the pregnancy, in creating this life. It brings me so much peace because
mm,
I'm going to go back to the beginning of the podcast where you said, my mother, my grandmother, they didn't feel supported. They didn't feel at ease. There was no safety, right? That's when we don't feel at home, because where there's safety, no matter where we are, we feel at home. But now you're bringing that back into your clients, into
mhm.
your business, into your baby, into yourself, and
Yes.
into the women's world. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. So, Petia, where is there anything you would like to share before we close? Because we have a last ritual that we ask you, if so you choose, to give a blessing to the audience. And you have already given thousands of blessings with your sharing. But anything else that you would like to share? We will
Mm.
make sure to put all the contacts of you, your Instagram, everything, so people can find you. But anything in particular that you would like to share, about abundance, about this magnetic abundance, about these beautiful manifestations that you are doing in your life with ease and grace.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the beautiful invitation. And the one thing that it's really on my heart that I want to remind others is that you're perfectly made for your purpose. So
Mm.
very often we try to fit boxes. So very often we are trying to do things like other people versus creating our own way. When you remember and realize that exactly the way you are, the way you express yourself, the way you look, the way you think, whatever you experience. It was designed for you and for your purpose. You're perfectly made for your purpose. It gives you the freedom. It gives you the freedom to be here and now. And like you said, here and now I'm in my pregnancy. Here and now I'm not doing live retreats. Here and now I just built a mastermind for women called Richly Rewarded, so they can
Oh,
come
beautiful.
in. It's an open enrollment, but it's for women who want to create the abundance from soul. And I felt like I want to create a better world for our little girl.
Mm,
And I cannot do it alone. And I am inviting women to come in to be supported in a safe space and creating soulful strategy how to create abundance for themselves and their family.
mm,
So Richly Rewarded for me, it's my legacy. It's how
wow.
I am serving other women to help others. It's how I'm creating the ripple effect and how I'm creating better world. So when you can own that, when you can own that you came here exactly as you are, comparing will fall on the side, and feeling that you are too much or too little will fall on the side, and you will come to alive. And there was this, I don't remember exactly this quote, Yvonne, but the quote of like, the world just needs you to come to life. We
Yes.
don't need you to do everything like everyone else. We need you to be alive. When you're feeling alive, you're magnetic. When you're magnetic, you're creating abundance and creating ripple effect for everybody else.
Wow, beautiful. And that is what it means to become unapologetically abundant. What beautiful ending words, and how what a beautiful blessing. Thank you, beloved Petia. Thank you, beloved baby girl, for coming into our podcast today. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening. Remember, we're in all the venues where podcasts are: Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, every single where you can even talk to your little robots. Alexa, Sonos, play Spirituality Now podcast with Petia, right? You can actually say we're everywhere. And this is also promoted in the Network for Human Empowerment Television in Latin America. So wherever you see us, watch us, hear us, please share it. Remember, we're a philanthropic based podcast. There is no advertisement here purposefully. So you get the full blessing of our beautiful guest in the podcast for you. And so that's it for now. Petia, thank you so much for bringing so much abundance to the Spirituality Now podcast. And it was lovely to have you and your girl. Many blessings for your path and many blessings for those of you who are with us today. Much love. Un besito. Adios. We hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere where you prefer to listen to your podcast. Make sure to check the links to everything we mentioned in this episode. For more news, future or past episodes, or for any other inquiry, please visit our website at delaflorteachings.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast.